Okay, so far we have discussed sample distribution, which is summarizing the sample, probability distribution, which is about the entire population. Now we'll move on to a new topic called sampling distribution. This is the difference sample and sampling distribution. And it is the connection between these two. It will make sense. And this is going to be a very short video. So what is it? Well, if you remember, we said that our research questions are questions about variables or relationship between variables in the population. So you randomly select a sample, right? And then you summarize the data specific to the sample. And when you say summarize the data, what you're doing is you're basically summarizing the variables in the sample. Because remember, the research question is about variable or variables in the population or relationship between variables in the population. And we are just confined to one variables for now to understand the basic logic. But when we said that there is one categorical variable, the way you summarize it is in the form of frequency or relative frequency. In terms of pictures, it is pie chart. In terms of numbers, it is frequency or relative frequency, and relative frequency can be in the form of percentages or proportions. Then we said, what if it's a quantitative variable? How can you summarize the sample? Well, this is for categorical variable. It's called sample distribution. If it's for quantitative variable, it is still the same thing. You list all the possible values and you give frequency for it. You give frequency for it. And because it's a quantitative variable, you try to summarize not just with the frequency distribution, you also use the shape, center, and spread. Remember? And this is through pictures. And for numbers, you use mean and standard deviation or median and IQR. So remember all those things, those were related to the sample, right? And what we have discussed later in the probability chapter is, well, this is for samples, right? What if we know the population? If we know the distribution of the variables in the population, then how would that look like? Well, that would look just like this. If there is a categorical variable, then just like you've summarized the sample, you also summarize the variables in the population by just listing all possible values and providing the probabilities. So that is probability distribution. If it is random, if it is quantitative variable but discrete, right, then we say it is in the form of probability distribution, but it's mostly a histogram. Then what did we say? What if it is a continuous variable? Well, that histogram will turn into a density curve. Remember? So this part of the chart is about the distribution of a variable in the population. So it's called probability distribution. Now, this is distribution of the variable in one sample from a given population. And those two are related. Now comes a point that connects these two. And that is sampling distribution. That is sampling distribution. I'm going to give one more sentence before we are up with the time. Yeah, okay. So what is that important thing about sampling distribution? I'm going to move on to the next